with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome to the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We got 8 games here on a Wednesday, fresh off the inaugural Emirates NBA Cup in-season tournament, day 1. Got a handful of teams that played on Tuesday on this slate for back-to-back, so we'll have to watch and see how those minutes are handled. A lot of these guys played a lot of minutes. Some of these guys played deep into blowouts. We got Orlando. We have Boston, we have Philly, we have the Knicks, and the Bucks and Pistons all on back-to-backs here. So take that into account. Did get word already. Some players that are going to be playing. Jason Tatum, who's questionable to play on Tuesday, did play Tuesday, will play on Wednesday, confirm that. Dame Lillard was ruled out Tuesday in concussion protocol. Assuming he doesn't get cleared by then, he's not expected to play. We did get interesting updates for Memphis. Memphis on the slate? Yes. Memphis is on the slate. Marcus Smart upgraded to questionable.
Memphis is not on this slate, but okay. Interesting for the.
They're on the late
slate. Yeah, for the late slate or FanDuel players.
Okay. Well, Memphis, Marcus Smart upgraded to questionable. Vince Williams upgraded to doubtful. So that team may be getting a little bit better if you're playing on FanDuel. So again, we got 8 games to talk about here, some fun matchups that we will certainly go over. A couple of these teams have just played one another recently as well. Grande.
John.
SGA is your top price point guard on the slate. We have 5 guys up over 10K. Giannis, Wemby, SGA, Tatum, and JoJo Embiid, who made his debut. Did not play well, but made his debut on Tuesday as well. Played around 25 minutes in that game. We'll see if he plays a back-to-back. That will be something to notch and note. But we talked about it the other day. SGA, no Chet Holmgren. We said play this man. He went for 45 actual. He had 77 fantasy points.
He did.
Now goes up against a Pelicans team that lost their best defensive guard in Jose Alvarado. I don't know what they're going to do at point guard. Brandon Boston? Is it Brandon Boston that are starting point guard?
Yeah, I would assume so. He's had a lot of he's been really good for passing lately.
But of those top guys that I mentioned, I am just gravitating back towards some SGA. I will also say that this I know we don't like talk blowouts. You don't like to talk blowouts. The Hawks beat the Celtics tonight.
Outright.
16.5
point spread.
Pelicans still have Brandon Ingram, right? Brandon Ross's been playing really well.
Yep.
They got Trey Murphy back.
Yep.
Maybe they keep this.
No big man on the other side.
Maybe they keep this game. JRE revenge game. Maybe they keep this game. But I definitely want to get some SGA in my
JRE. I was so delayed on that, but that was so funny. I'm so happy I was so delayed with that revenge narrative. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So SGA at 10-6, everything to me is saying like play this guy. They wasted no time obviously getting the price up to where he is. And this is what we saw like a lot last year. This is like what we saw when Chet was still sort of working his way through his quote unquote rookie year, and Jalen Williams was good, but not this good. Like it was SGA every night, 30 plus points. It didn't matter what his point prop was. You were just like hammering the over. He's gonna like take these games over. Big fan of SGA here. Harden's got Houston at 96 Cade against Milwaukee. Both of these teams on back-to-backs, $9,000 Cade. Triple doubles galore. Of late here, a good price tag for him. What are your thoughts when it comes to sort of spending up at the point guard position here?
Yeah, I mean, look, SGA. I think the most surprising thing of that game was that 45 points is his career high. I think that was the most surprising thing that that came from that game. I just feel like he should have 50 on his ledger, but I'm very certain that will happen eventually. It's like Hank Aaron, right? Hank Aaron had like no 50 home run season in his career, and has like the second most home runs of all time. So yeah, she is an elite play. Pelicans are terrible defensively, 29th in the league. So if you want to get to SGA, by all means. I think Harden makes a ton of sense if you want to be contrarian. Again, he's just not making shots. The minutes are great. The peripheral stats are great. He was 1 assist shy of a triple double last game. If James Harden makes shots, he's going for 60. So if you want to play James Harden, I think there's a ceiling. Um, Not as this revenge game, maybe not as prevalent as the JRE revenge game, but this one's pretty good. I like Cade. Almost had a quadruple double on the Tuesday slate. He had 21 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, and 7 turnovers. So just numbers and rebound shy of a quadruple double. But definitely interested in some Cade Cunningham. He has been amazing. And Milwaukee had Brian Rollins starting at point guard for them. He was great. Left the game with a shoulder injury, will not return.
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do? They did dust off DeLon Wright. Obviously, DeLon Wright is a pretty good defender. 21 minutes so far. He has 5 steals, DeLon Wright, John, in 21 minutes. So, you know, definitely a turnover prone guard, first like very good
Yeah.
defensive player, DeLon Wright. If DeLon Wright were to be the guy drawing a start, that could be a little bit of a concern for me, but I would still get to Cade just given Milwaukee's overall defense. And then when you move down the list, like we'll talk Ingram, small forward. Brunson, I think, is in a great spot to bounce back, just given what the Bulls have been this year. Really fast. This is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Bulls are number 1 in pace. Knicks are last. So you get Knicks in the biggest pace up spot possible is super ideal for them. Maybe not second leg of a back to back. Maybe it's not, but
Yeah.
obviously knowing Tibbs is your coach, you're conditioned pretty well. So I'm good with Brunson, good with Mitchell. There's always a ceiling. And Halliburton, you want to talk about a ceiling, finally gave us the ceiling against the Knicks, but it's just been very inconsistent. So, I think Halliburton is only really someone that we can trust in tournaments. I
Yeah.
mean, 60 fantasy points was great, but like then the few games prior, it's like, all right, dude, well, like, where was like what are we missing here? Where's the consistency a little bit?
Right. No, I agree with you. Obviously, LaMelo Ball had himself a really big game against Orlando tonight. But Jalen Suggs obviously are pretty good. Elite, borderline elite defender. Where are we going below? I mean, obviously Suggs is here after a super hot start. Left, came back, didn't really pick too much up where he left off. Jordan Poole, Garland, Kobe White had a big night the other night. What are our thoughts when we get into the 6 and 7K range?
6 and 7K range. Jordan Poole in tournaments is fine. Obviously, wasn't great with Kuzma back. Suggs, we'll see if he. I know he did come back, but we'll see what the second leg of a back to back looks like for Suggs. If he plays, if he doesn't, if he plays, he's fine. Derek White is a freak of nature. You can definitely play Derek White. Darius Garland's been really good, really consistent if you want to play Garland. Kobe White has a really high ceiling. I think, it was aided maybe by the steals, but he has been super good.
Yeah, 7 rebounds
in
in 6
general.
assists, though.
Yeah, he has been good, just like super, like just in general. It's just the pace in this game couldn't be worse for the Bulls, right? It's going from fastest pace in the league to slowest pace in the league. So Kobe White's fine. I'd be okay with Van Vliet if he plays. I'm okay with Schroeder. I don't love it. But Brooklyn, again, really scrappy team so far this year. Gave Boston some issues the first go around. I said it the other day. Josh Giddey looks incredibly comfortable when Zach LaVine's playing versus when he's not.
Right.
31 minutes, almost triple doubled with LaVine in the lineup. The game before, I mean, almost triple doubled in just 25 minutes. So I like Giddey in tournaments if you can get him to like the 30-minute mark. And then, of course, Chris Paul shuts us up.
As I say, we have a good trend right now. When we crap on a player, play him. Chris Paul is doing absolutely nothing for 3 games. And he comes back out only 12 points, 11 assists, 2 steals. He gets 42 fantasy points. So, that's the way the cookie crumbles with us lately, right?
Yes.
Ivy had over 40 fantasy points tonight. You got $6,300 for him. Not terrible. Got Bob Carrington, even with Kuzma back, played 31 minutes, 10, 2, 6, 2, and 4, right? He's been giving you every other game 4 steals seemingly. So got Bob Carrington there at 58.
Then we'll buck the trend here for every other game, John. Come on.
It's true. Your value guys, Levert, Pritchard, AJ Green started tonight. Could see him start again at $4,900. You were dead on with Ben Simmons the other day. I don't know if you want to run that back. I mean, the minutes were kind of but 6, 5, and 12 look pretty good.
I know the minutes sucked. No, with Dorian Finney-Smith out. Yeah. I wonder if that you think. I don't know. I wonder if it is a Claxton thing because they just don't want to play them together, and Claxton played 32 minutes, and like you have to stagger them. Obviously, that's just the ceiling in terms of peripheral stats we're going to get from Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. I thought we were going to get more consistently the mid to high 20s, but we're back down to 22. That's kind of discouraging. But he's a super good fantasy point per minute guy. I'm fully aboard your bandwagon of Jared McCain.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot to consider here.
Welcome aboard, first of all.
Thank you for having me. I am technically, not that I watch a lot of college basketball anymore, I'm technically a Duke fan. I have always been a Duke fan. I have a signed Mike Krzyzewski ball right there. And it says, always try your best, which I'm sure he signed for all 1,000 people that he signed it for. But we don't know or think Joel Embiid's going to play. He has already said he's not going to play back-to-backs. Obviously, this may be a little different because they're 2-8. We don't know what the back-to-back's going to look like for Paul George. He hasn't yet played a back-to-back for Philly.
Mm-hmm.
If either of those guys are out, McCain's playing 48 minutes.
Should it even matter, though? Because he played 30 for the third straight game. And tonight, again, 23 actual. Shot 7 of 16, 4 of 10 from 3. His numbers are pretty consistent. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. 3 rebounds, 2 assists the last game, 1 and 2. But since he's played 30-plus minutes in 3 straight games, you're getting the legit scoring. Obviously, the concern is that because you're only getting 3 and 2, is that when he doesn't go 10 of 18 or 7 of 16, there's a super low floor, right?
Yes.
And this is Cleveland, presumably a tougher matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, I obviously like the kid. I think there's a lot of upside here. If this game blows out, he'll be on the floor no matter what. Super talented, 100%. I wish he was still a little bit cheaper. I wish they were playing like the Pacers and not the Cavs, but I would honestly, I think I'd rather just play McBride against Chicago. A little bit cheaper. Playing the same amount of minutes, takes a lot of shots.
Yeah. He's playing a lot of minutes, takes a lot of shots.
Played 26 minutes tonight, 15, 3, 2, and 2 steals. Gets the big pace-up spot against Chicago. Now you're right. If George is out, if Lowry sits on a back-to-back, if Embiid, by default, you'll play McCann. And I agree with you. I won't take him out of that scenario, but if everybody's in and all things are equal, I almost would rather just play McBride, I think.
All that won't matter if Ryan Rollins is if he's back though, because he's $3,000 again.
Yep, it's true.
So, and then what do we do else? If he doesn't play, DeLon Wright's 38.
Mm-hmm.
So you have DeLon Wright at 38, and you already talked about AJ Green. So both those guys are options. John, how about this one? Ty Jerome.
Yeah, I mean he's been getting a lot of run and blowouts. Where's the price?
No, but he's been 3,900. He's just flat out playing. He's
true. It's true.
Look at the minutes for Ty Jerome, and only one of those games have not been competitive.
Yeah, he's going Delano Banton on us almost.
Dude, he is going Delano Banton.
The steals, dude. Look at the steals
with 2 first names. Yeah, I know the steals have been the assists. I mean,
2 games this season without a steal.
I'm just again, it's an 8-game slate. If this was a 4-game slate or a 5-game slate, I think that we'd be probably more interested in it. But
I think it's a good shout. I think it's a good shout. I won't argue with you. Shooting guard. Donovan Mitchell had a good game the other day. Again, we shit on him. Faced Chicago, 36 actual, 60 fantasy points.
Yep.
You know, that happens.
Yeah.
Jalen Brown was the man of the night on Tuesday. $8,100 for him. Jalen Green was not good the other day. Gets Clippers here, though. Let's see. You got Norm 72, Cam Thomas 7K. What are our thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean Donnie Mitch was great. Jalen, if no one's sitting, is always a play in tournaments. You know, I said it. I would play for Rockets in the Washington game, and obviously Jalen Green wasn't great. But if there's no Van Vliet, you know, he took 15 shots. He played 37 minutes, which hasn't been happening. He has not played that much lately. I'd be good with Jalen Green, not great, because like, why play Jalen Green when Norm Powell exists in the world? I mean,
Right.
Norm Powell has been as good as anybody in basketball of late. We're talking about a guy who has, I mean, every 20 in every game since the first game, and he's gone for 30 in 2 of the last 3. And all I ever asked for was peripheral stats, and we're getting those too. So it's just hard to not want to click.
We're getting all the Sixers right now. Paul George, uncertain. Joel Embiid, uncertain for Wednesday.
Yeah, that which is kind of makes sense. Like, what can they possibly? I mean, Joel Embiid basically told us he wasn't going to play back-to-backs, but they're 2-9 now? 2-8? Like, can they afford to not have Joel Embiid like playing? That's my one concern, or my one thought, that he would possibly play, but I don't know.
I mean, they have a long season to turn it around. You know, they get Maxey back at some point, and they have all 3 of them roaring and ready to go.
Yeah, I know, but there's only been so many teams in the history of the NBA that have come back from like 1-9 or 2-9 records that have ever.
You don't need a winning
playoffs.
record in the East to make the playoffs. So,
well, that is apparently true. The Eastern Conference is not at its peak right now.
It is not. It is not. You know who's at his peak right now? John Collins. That guy is unbelievable.
John Collins he is quite good. Yes, that is
quite good. Anyways, back to this slate. Mid-tier guys that we've talked about here. Matherin gets Orlando. I mean,
I'd play him. Doesn't matter.
He went for 38 and 11 against them 2 games ago.
Doesn't matter.
38 and 8 against the Knicks in 41 minutes. I think that was it wasn't an overtime game. They just blew him out. And Charlotte 37. I mean, this guy is something else, man.
Yeah, and they like officially just like shut Nembhard down like they should have a while ago, because he has knee tendonitis, and we already know Neesmith. There's just nothing stopping the minutes, right? So he is just an elite. He's just an elite scorer. It is what it is. So $6,000.
So they did bump up Brandon Boston's price as well to $6K.
It was 59. It was 59 last night.
That's fair. Two games in a row now. 10 assists in that game. So you mentioned point guard, like Boston running it.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Devin Vassell played another 22 minutes, did the 21 fantasy points there. So not until he starts playing more will we entertain that. Obviously, if there is no Van Vliet, Amen is not as cheap as he was, but we know he's still very good. We'd probably be willing to pay $5,800 for that experience again.
We would.
Let's see, a lot of these other guys we've already talked about. I flashed Castle on the screen, didn't really go into him though. Yeah. Still good, right? Like still price tag wise, like still paying off. So
yeah, I mean they could probably get away with like some Vassell at the 3 lineups, right? When you have Wemby at the 5, like just backing you up, because it's and I kind of figured it would, like Champagny taking a little hit and Harrison Barnes taking a little hit, and then like finally just like shrinking their rotation, just like getting rid of all like the other pieces as well. So
yep,
yeah, Castle's definitely fine.
Let's see. Isaiah Joe's $4,500. He played 31 minutes. We know he can be a bucket.
Yep.
Had a block and 3 steals in that game.
Look at his price, dude. Finally, huh?
Yeah.
Like it took us this long to get here. Dort too, by the way, 4,700.
Yeah.
Dort and Isaiah Joe. Dude, Lou Dort has been over a fantasy point per minute. Huh?
Yeah, we shouldn't sleep on him for sure.
He's been good.
The threes have been there. That's good. Some of the best offensive output we've seen.
Yep.
Be going on right now. Let's see here. Anything else? Zaire started.
Yeah, if Finney Smith is questionable again. So if there's no Finney Smith, what made us believe they beat New Orleans with that lineup? Like, what makes us believe they wouldn't just go right back to the well, right?
Yeah. All right. Let's go on over to small forward then. Tatum is 10-3. Brandon Ingram, $8,800. Franz Wagner broke down the whole slate on Tuesday. $8,500 for him. Jaylen Brown, we talked about already. A lot of these guys we discussed. So Wagner is the one here against Indiana. Had 46 fantasy points against them a couple games ago. Again, went absolutely nuclear tonight against Charlotte.
And didn't barely played the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Would have had probably like 70 bomb. I mean, dude, we've said it over and over again. And I think you and I continue to like not click the button for one reason or another. But
he was like in my lineup in 3 different iterations, and then I send you the final lineup, and I have RJ Barrett in. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he had 55 fantasy points. He has a 33% or 31% usage going into that Tuesday slate without Paolo Banchero. 1.2 fantasy points per minute. That's going to rise drastically without Paolo after the 55 fantasy point game. We don't technically know the status of Jalen Suggs going into tomorrow as well. There was an injury there, for a short period of time. So there's a lot of uncertainty with Orlando. We don't know if Wendell Carter is going to be there. Like there is the one certain thing is that Franz Wagner is just a fantasy beast, and 8,500 is not too expensive. And without Aaron Nesmith, without Andrew Nembhard, they don't have a perimeter defender that's going to guard him. They don't. They do not. Siakam, but I don't know if they can afford Siakam to play 40 minutes on both ends, like at the super high level that they need him to. So, Franz Wagner is
Franz Wagner for those at home.
For only people that are listening to you, Franz Wagner.
I pronounce it as it's spelled. Anyways, so Wagner out here doing some damage. Again, Ingram's here. You called me the other day, like no reason to go away from him just because he had a bad game against Orlando. Goes up against Brooklyn, 35 minutes, takes 24 shots, and voila, here we are. Like great spot for him.
Yep.
I still think we play Murphy though. Where's his price? Where's Murphy at?
They probably moved him to power forward.
Is that what it really is now?
I would assume so.
5,800 power forward only. All right, we'll talk about him. I like that he played 26 minutes off the rip and he just fired a bunch of shots. So we'll get there. Other mid-tier options. OG had a big game today. Basically, since I said he sucked, he's been great. It's legit, right? Like I was like, he's the only one I'm not going to play right here. Only one I'm not going to play. 40, 30, 38, 37, and he did another like 38 tonight. So we talk about it. Chicago, the best pace spot for any opposing team right now. The Knicks are going to play 38 minutes, and they're going to play the most possessions they have all season. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes to everything you just said.
Yes to everything I just said.
Yeah.
Agreed. Tari Eason, you and I were like lamenting the snowflake, and then we like blinked, and all of a sudden he had 2 blocks, a steal, a rebound, an offensive putback, and he had 29 fantasy points.
We got off the call like, all right, John, good night. All right, good night. Good podcast. Good day. And then
I sent you a screenshot of the last 60 seconds of Tari Eason tonight.
And then 10 minutes later, I messaged you, Amen Thompson. You're like, I was literally messaging you the same thing. So it was a fun time, and it just made me realize that
Never to quit on
Jabari Smith Jr. is not long for this team.
Yeah.
He's not.
Which they probably regret considering they used the number 2 pick on him, but
they probably thought that was going to be Paolo until Shams moved the market.
That's true. That is true. Imagine that team with Paolo. It's a little different. A little different.
That would be a little different. Yeah.
Yep. But we knew Tyre Easton was a baller from Summer League. You and I were talking. Like, did you guys watch the Summer League? Tyre Easton's out here doing everything, and
he is at the top of the causing mayhem list around the league.
Yeah, he's in the Montrezl Harrell Hall of Fame right now.
Yes.
Strip. Delano Bandit, by the way, in the game when Anthony Simon's hurt. You want to talk about fantasy point per minute Hall of Fame? That guy's gonna rip up this late slate you and I played that didn't play Delano Banton.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nightmare for us. We got Aaron Wiggins. He's 4,600.
He is. He's also good at basketball. He started, dude. Everyone trying to say that like they need, even us like speculating like what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They don't have the option to play big. Like they don't. So they don't. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Williams took a jump ball at the beginning of the game and off they went. And they played all their small guys, and they scored 134 points. Like it's
you don't need to play big when Jalen Williams has the same wingspan as Giannis.
That's fair. So. Wiggins at 46 is interesting. I kind of missed the price already, like $4,000, but
good on DraftKings for at least doing it.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. Good on DraftKings for getting that up quick.
You liked Dylan Brooks the other day. Got the minutes.
Yeah, I think he got the shots too. He just didn't make them. If he makes 2 more shots, we're talking easy return. Yeah, it's an easy return. So if there's no Van Vliet, I'm going right back to Dylan Brooks. Well, he's safe, dude, because he's a very good on-ball defender. So unfortunately, he's going to get foul baited by James Harden here, so it might not be the best spot, but I'd be willing to go back to the ball.
All right, if George is out, do we get KJ?
Do
we get Yabu starting probably then? What do we think happens if Paul George sits here?
If Paul George sits, where is Philly? They play Cleveland.
Yeah, like KJ Martin's like in the rotation.
Are we also assuming Embiid? I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, I guess.
Was in the rotation. He sat
Lowry, Martin, Oubre for sure. Like Caleb for sure.
Yeah.
And then either Embiid, Drummond. That's 4.
Well, we think Embiid too. I imagine they would both sit.
Yeah, I assume. I mean, they might play Paul George and then sit Embiid.
Stagger it? Well, they said George is uncertain as well.
No, how can you? I think Nick Nurse probably had to answer that question that way just because they're 2-9. Like, hey, do you feel good enough to play tomorrow? And then Paul George's like, I'll let you know.
I think we also see Cleveland on the schedule. They're like, you know what? Take the night off. Like, we're not going to beat this team. So we just lost. We just got blown out by the Knicks. So, it's
not a bad point. I'm just saying, like, man,
I would get the KJ if he's in the starting lineup at $3,400.
Or are we sure? Maybe it's. I mean, it could be Jared McCain. I think it could be Jared McCain.
Sure.
He's been playing the best out of all of them. No, like he's been as good as anybody on that team.
Sure, could be McCain. I don't hate it. All right, power forward. Giannis is up here. Giannis didn't have to do anything tonight. We sat here and crowed all about Giannis. Like, gotta play him.
We did. We literally crowed. I crowed.
We weren't the only ones. He was 75% rostered in the single entry. He was 55% in the tournaments. Like, everybody knew this is the Giannis spot, except for Giannis, apparently, who did have a little bit of a fourth quarter for us. Like, helped us a little bit, but not really. 44 fantasy points. Yeah. At 11-3, it was his worst game of the season, basically, from a statistical standpoint. So you live with it. You move on with it. You could go up against Detroit tonight and have 70. So if nothing else, take solace in the fact they only need to play 33 minutes tonight. Right?
Sure.
And maybe he feels refreshed and ready to rock. So I'd be willing to go back. I like SGA better at 10-6, but would be willing, obviously, to go back to Giannis because people might feel burned by Giannis and not want to play him here. So
that's always the kicker, right? Like if we see SGA is 2x the ownership of Giannis, wouldn't that? I mean, you're right. I would just be more inclined to potentially get a low on Giannis nuke the slate, especially there's no Dame, dude. Like at the end of the day, he's in concussion protocol. He had a 1.88 fantasy point per minute output before that last game.
Right.
So I'm more than willing to go back to the well on with Giannis.
Yep. Talked to Wagner already. Got Mobley down here. Siakam against Orlando. Tough game for him. Had a good game against Charlotte. Not terrible spot there. Kuzma returned. Josh Hart. Josh Hart had another big night, big double again. $6,600 for him.
He is a monster. He is a fantasy point per minute monster because he's just playing 40 minutes. Like he is so good on the glass. He is so good everywhere except shooting because once again he can't shoot. I was listening to the first half. They were talking about Josh Hart is the shooting the best percentage in the NBA at the rim, which was bizarre.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't miss. I mean, he's just so good. He's such a good basketball player. So, yeah, if you end up on Josh Hart, you should feel pretty good with that.
I agree. Tobias has been steady as a rock. He was another really good game out of him, like 35 fantasy points tonight. So you want to keep playing some cash game Tobias. I think it's fine.
Agreed.
Talked Murphy already, $5,800. Again, played 26 minutes, took 14 shots. Just didn't really hit him, but the volume was nice. Overall, the production was pretty good. He's cheaper than he was the other day. I don't have any hesitations really getting to him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we have to pay attention to is they said he was going to play 20 minutes and he played 26. So like they must have felt pretty comfortable and pretty secure with the way that he is feeling. So if you're going to get that game 1, I mean, I expect that to kind of snowball to game 2 a little bit. Where all right, we're feeling good. We played 26 on a 20-minute cap. Let's get you to 30. If we're gonna Trey Murphy at 30 minutes, all systems go because they need him. Him and Ingram have to be the guys here with Alvarado being out now. So yeah, if we get word that Murphy's kind of like now up to 30 minutes, hell yeah.
I agree. Keldon's here off the bench. He's been really good for San Antonio. If you want to continue to play him, last game was but overall pretty good. Sar, again, ups and downs with a rookie. He's got good block shot upside. Gets San Antonio probably go up against Wemby, probably a tough spot. Keyshawn's there. Anything new down here that you'd play? I guess Yabu would be a little interesting. He could also foul out real quickly in this game against Cleveland, but if people are out of the lineup, I mean, not a terrible spot for him. I think Jared Allen questionable?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
That's literally the Yabo Selly sparked my memory.
Yeah.
That would obviously be interesting. I'd assume it'd be like a Dean Wade because they've gone back to that Okoro lineup. Could be Karis LeVert, but I think they like bringing LeVert off the bench. But yeah, I mean, if there's no Allen, it's Mobley at the 5. I don't think Drummond's long for this game.
Right.
Drummond's your starting center. So Yabusele makes a lot of sense.
He's been so good for them, dude.
He has been so good. Dude, he really reinvented himself. Right? I mean, he's able to stretch the floor. He's shooting 43% from 3.
Yeah.
And playing
tonight was a bad night for the 76ers in general. He was 1 for 7 shooting, but he still had 8 rebounds for them.
8 rebounds. Great rebounder. Can space the floor. He's just been a very good basketball player since his first round status and exit. But we saw Noah Clowney play 20 minutes off the bench. If there's no Finney Smith, I would be okay going to Noah Clowney. I mean, look, he went 5 of 10 from 3.
Right.
Should we expect that? I don't think so, but it's obviously something that's, I guess, in the cards. So, for what that's worth. It's in
Sure.
the cards.
Anything else down here for you?
Kenrich played 5 minutes. That's possible that it rises a little bit, but until we see it, I don't think we can go there.
They could go Niang here if there's no Allen to move Mobley
They
to the
could.
5.
Yeah, they could. They could.
Little
And
revenge
Niang's been
game.
really, he's been good too. That's true. There's revenge there too.
Yeah.
32 is a good price. I mean, there's a good price. So if
Yeah.
there's no Allen, Niang's fine.
Center here. You got Giannis, obviously. Wemby the other night, 71 fantasy points for him. 34, 14, 6, 3, 1. Yeah, he's a good dude. This Victor Wembanyama cat. So you want to spend up? That's fine. Towns had another big game tonight against Philly. He's had a lot of big games lately. Did he play Chicago yet? Not yet. I mean, Vuk isn't really a great defender. I think this could just be another big game for Towns. Under 9K still for him. Like, he's been a bit of a monster here.
He has.
Did they really make Jalen Williams center only? That's hilarious.
Good for them.
Good for them.
I mean, he is literally the center. He's literally the starting center.
He is their center. All right. Jalen Williams, 81. Şengün's 81. Zubac, 81. Vucevic, 81 against a terrible Towns defensive team there. It could be Mobley versus Drummond. By a Mobley, no Allen would be a monster spot for him. So center is loaded here in this mid tier.
Super loaded. I mean, not even just mid tier. I mean, Wemby against Washington coming off 70 bomb. It starts at the top. So yeah, I mean, there's no wrong answer.
You got to pick SGA or Wemby to spend up for.
SGA or Wemby. SGA feels safer. Wemby has a higher ceiling.
Okay.
I guess not anymore, but because we just got the 77 bomb out of SGA.
I bet the Washington San Antonio game is probably a closer spread.
Let's see. We got it at 7.5. And OKC New Orleans is 14.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, half, literally half.
Maybe a more competitive game here.
More competitive game. Yeah, I mean, I'll go. Man, no SGA, no Chet though.
I know.
It's close. It's close. I'll tell you this: the top 3 scorers of the slate have longer names than everyone else. How about that? I feel pretty confident with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a hard time not getting to Şengün too. I know you rattled off all the $8,100 centers, but like, if there's no Fred VanVleet, I'm gonna have a hard time not going Şengün. I mean, dude, he was everything as advertised and didn't finish the game because the blowout. 60 fantasy points. I'm gonna have a hard time not playing Jalen every single slate. If that's the production we're gonna get at Jalen Williams, no Chet Holmgren. Jalen Williams is just like a different version is unlocked because we know he can score. We know he can really do everything. But he literally did everything. I mean, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 35 minutes.
Yep.
Because they need him to play center. So it's hard sell or like hard to not play all of them, and it's just gonna be another day where I'm just like, I'm just gonna play multiple lineups so I don't have to worry about it.
I would agree with you on that for sure. Again, Vucevic and Şengün, they're all there. Zubac's there, all great, like Mobley. Yeah, Miles Turner versus Orlando.
Miles Turner versus Orlando is a good one.
Yep.
He is always super popular, and I know it's a price thing. I feel like it's always a price thing with Miles Turner.
I mean, he's pretty much consistently giving you 6 or more X return, right?
Yeah,
more 4 to the last 5. So
we get really solid scoring, really solid peripheral stats. Minutes are really solid, especially with all the injuries they have, and they don't raise his price at all.
Nope. Any interest in Claxton?
Yeah, man, he was good. He was really good at that price.
Yep.
32 minutes.
Just missed out on the double-double bonus.
Yeah, I mean, really solid.
You think Horford sits on the back-to-back? Probably, right?
It's a good point.
Right?
I don't think he's played a back-to-back yet.
I would expect it. And he was questionable going into today's game. Tuesday.
True. True. So they're seeing which game they were going to sit him. They gave him they opened the window. The old
Yeah.
one toe in, one toe out.
Yeah.
Get it?
Need 10
Toe
toes in
injury.
when you're standing on business. So
True, unless you have 11. I would say, do we get a Nemus Quaid? I mean, I'm not even going to try to predict it. It's not. It doesn't usually.
you'd play whoever started, though, right? I mean, I would imagine
Unless
they go Quaid over Cornette.
Well,
I would imagine.
Not whoever starts. We've seen that before.
Well, that's true.
It's not Xavier Tillman.
Never Xavier Tillman.
If it's Xavier Tillman, we don't. If it's anyone else.
James Robinson Earl, Run Jam, 4,400. Misi.
Still Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Robinson Earl.
Misi was amazing.
Misi was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably go this direction, right?
Yeah, he's going to start. He's going to start for sure.
4,800.
I mean, if he's playing well, I can see a scenario to where like he just keeps playing, and they're playing an undersized front court. So like, he's really active on the offensive glass. So there's a real path for a bunch of rebounds for him.
Yeah, he's got some shot blocking upside. Mo Wagner also continues to be an offensive dynamo. Doesn't always get the minutes, but gets the production when he's on the floor. Again, probably not going to go there with the other price guys around him, but good offensive plays there. That's probably it.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. How do we want to attack this?
Pick one of the alphabet guys, and then we'll go from there.
I feel like we like the more of the mid-tier center. So you said you were
that 8K range was super great. And you brought up the Mobley thing too. Is like
that's factor
as well.
We don't know Allen though, right? So
no, I know, but I'm just saying. I'm saying like if that plays out to where it is, where like it's like holy smokes, because there's like clear value right now with Milwaukee.
Yeah,
but we just don't know the Ryan Rollins stuff, because Ryan Rollins is going to be the highest owned player of the slate if he's back.
They got Green up to 4,900 too. Just unfortunate.
DeLon Wright played 24 minutes.
I mean, that's probably a good bet, right? If Rollins didn't return, the likelihood of him just immediately playing the next night feels low, right?
Yeah.
5,700. We gotta get some Knicks in here.
OG is 50. I think 50, exactly 57.
Yeah, OG works. Power forward 57.
Well, you could play OG there and maybe Jared McCain at small forward.
I got McCann at shooting guard. Was there another small forward you wanted? Go McBride, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
McCain was already did there. What do we want to do here? McCain and OG?
Yeah.
Small forward, $6,500. Can we get friends in there? 45 for a forward.
Yabo Brooks.
Yeah.
Yabo Brooks. But also, there's also like the values of like Zaire Williams if that opens up, and then,
sure.
Where's Jarris? We didn't talk Jarris Walker. Where's Jarris Walker at? Toppin might be out again. We don't know if Toppin's out, but
sure.
Jarris Walker played a bunch of minutes last game.
What's the Toppin status? Is he questionable, doubtful?
He's been out the last couple, and I think he's questionable.
All right. Let's see if we went off of Wagner, even though we do like him.
Here we go again. Going on fronts. That's our
our
bad. Our bad again.
I know it makes no sense. It just happens. He's just a victim. I mean, if we played him, we'd have to get off someone else. We got off OG here. I think it's a good value at his price. There you go.
Yeah, I'm good with. I'm good with OG if we wanted to, but if we wanted to be
Tari and Dort.
Yeah, I'd be good with Tari and Dort.
Okay. What was that? Eamon was 58. All right. Well, we got this for $500 left over for now. SGA, McBride, Eason, Wagner, Shingun, Wright, Dort, and McCain. $500 left over. So Cody Cook's on your playbook for Wednesday. Be on the lookout for that coming out. Of course, James and I will be back live at 5 p.m. And then we don't see you on Thursday. Just one game on Thursday. Go figure. So we'll be back for Friday with the preview show. So this will be the last preview show. Until then, we'll have live on Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Hit the like, subscribe, share button. We appreciate you all. We'll talk to you later.